time. Say hi, YouTube. Chat, you have to say hi to YouTube. Come to Twitch, we're cool. How could you get a small cylinder unstuck from a mini M&M's tube filled with butter and microwaved mashed banana? A small cylinder, huh? This guy put his dick in there, didn't he? What the hell? This guy put his dick in there. How do you even come up with an idea like that? They literally, they opened the fridge and they said, what would be good lubricant? You don't think when you're horny? Wait, that is actually the best point that could possibly be made here. Lubricant, squishy and warm, checks out, I guess. That's no small cylinder. It sounds like a perfectly adequate cylinder to me. Average size, you might say. Wait, now that I think about it, a mini M&M tube? I'm not gonna voice my opinion. I was just curious as to how big that was. Stupid, sexy green M&M. Need to get air in there to release the pressure. I would advise using a high-powered drill to drill a hole in the bottom of the M&M container. This will allow to enter. The larger the drill bit, the better. I can't risk power tools damaging the interior cylinder. You can have sex with one real person from all of human history. Who is your ultimate lay? My wife knows my Reddit username. Yet she already posted about getting finger blasted by Antonio Banderas. I'd like to have sex one more time with my wife who passed away from cancer 9 years ago. My body yearns for hers. The ultimate downside to finding the one is she may die young and leave you wanting. Did you send me the right comment? Was that was sad. What the hell, man? Who is your ultimate lay? My dead wife? I also choose this dead guy's wife? What the fuck, man? That is so fucked up. Today I fucked up. My 20 female girlfriend of 2 years told me the music that I, 25 male, played during sex is weird and a major turnoff. Wait, no way. Is this the CVAT one? A little backstory. When I first started having sex, I researched into ways to be better as I was a little stiff and pretty much had no idea what I was doing. I read online that you can play music and match the rhythm in order to put on a better performance. I searched love-making songs and started slowly creating a playlist in which I was comfortable matching the rhythm. There are a few songs to my playlist. However, there is one song in particular which actually happens to be my favorite, that my girlfriend hates and says turns her off in a major way. I don't understand why it has taken her 2 years to tell me she hates that song. It's a good love-making song with good rhythm. I feel the way I fucked up is I could have possibly asked her previously if she likes the playlist or any songs she'd like to add or change. But to leave it for 2 years thinking our sex life is great, but in her eyes has just been ruined by my music has left the whole situation feeling awkward, and I'm a bit annoyed. I pretty much played this tune every single time, so the amount of time she must have not been enjoying it when I thought the complete opposite is annoying but also embarrassing in ways. Not to mention my previous partners, however, they never complained about the song, so maybe it's just hers. It's fucked up the relationship, to be honest, because sex feels awkward now. The other day, we were having sex with no music, but I was still thrusting to the tune playing in my head. She recognized this and asked me to stop. I thought this song was perfect, and I always thrust along with the tune and feel it gives me the perfect rhythm for doing the deed. I usually bust to this song and find it devastating she hates the song. So you guys all know this one, right? Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. I cannot imagine like being in the middle of doing it and like this song comes on. I love all the videos. I love all the videos trying to simulate how they would have set to this beat. Honestly, yeah, like I wonder which part. I feel like I just assume that it's the main melody, right? Like r/ask Reddit. What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? I decided to post this partially because I'm interested in reaction to this, as I've never told anyone before, and also to see what out there fucked up things you've done. The sort of things that make you question your own sanity, your own worth. Surely I can't be alone. Cousin died when we were both 17. There was a reception at his house just after the funeral. I went into his room and stole all the money that was there, took some other valuables that his parents wouldn't realize were gone. No one knows that I did it. They just assumed he didn't have any money in his room, only loose change. I don't regret it, but I will never admit it. Also, my cum box? Cum box? Well, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a shoe box, or at least once was, and whenever I masturbate, I come into it. I've had it for 2 or 3 years now, I think, so it has a fair amount of cum. It smells atrocious, and I tried to burn it once. When I lit it on fire, it was too damp due to the cum that it simply sizzled and didn't manage to actually light up. Holy shit. Turns out, burning cum smells awful, so I had to spray it with a deodorant body spray just to get the old smell of burnt cum away. It also has some drenched paper stuck to it. That's pretty much it. Because people were asking, is this a picture of it? Is this a picture of the cum box? You guys, I don't think I can open that. I don't think I can open that. Okay, edit. A lot of people are asking me why. Well, I'm apparently a rather disturbed individual. No. You're just a little freaky, that's all. But it just kind of happened. Bought new shoes and needed some place to come. Used the box. It just escalated from there. Kept using it each time, telling myself I would throw it out soon. Never did. 2 or 3 years later, I still have it. It wasn't planned or anything. It just happened. Edit 3. Fuck, this really exploded. 20,000 plus views of my cum box. Did not expect this. Edit 4. I often get PM'd about updates or current status of the box, generally a few a week. So I might as well update this post if anyone even gets linked here anymore. Current status: I have created life. Mold has begun has begun to grow in the box and has taken over a fair amount. Smells a bit worse, mainly due to a damper apartment, so it does not dry as fast. Hence the reason why the mold has begun. I cannot click on that picture. I don't think I can. Life finds a way. Look, if it was me and I had a cum box filled with 3+ years of cum and I was ready to finally throw it away, I would probably like triple bag that shit. I would triple bag it in a garbage bag. And then like if I didn't have any other trash to put in there with it, I would just fill it up with like old newspapers, some shit. Like nobody is finding my shame. Nobody is gonna find my shame. I will never be rid of my need for it. I hate and love the box just as I hate and love myself. Also, I like how the cum box was like an afterthought in the first post. It was like talking about the whole thing with his cousin, and then he's like, oh, and my cum box, I guess. Feel like you need to bury that thing. Full military honors, 21 gun salute. It put in more service than anything ever should. Jesus. Ew. All right, who's the dumbest person you've ever met? It's not uncommon as a teacher to have students who are a bit behind the curve in certain aspects, but 99.9999% of the time they are keen on something. You learn pretty quick to not judge fish for their tree climbing ability, you know? I thought this was the rule when I was teaching until I met Kevin. Kevin isn't his real name, but it doesn't matter because he can't spell it anyway. Kevin was a student of mine during my last year of teaching. He came to my classroom with very little to show for his academic past. He had moved a few times and thus was missing a lot of typical scores that we use to try and ballpark their ability. Don't worry, it was a ballpark. We didn't make major decisions until we actually had a chance to talk and work with the student for a bit. I thought, that's fine. I'll just do some one-on-one with Kevin and see what's up. One-on-one with Kevin was like conversing with someone who'd forgotten everything in a freak, if not impossible, amnesia incident. There was no evidence that he had learned anything past the 2nd grade, and now he was in the 9th grade. Flabbergasted, I figured we needed to get more serious with this. If he was going to be in my class, I needed to know why and how. I decided to meet with him, his guidance counselor, his parents, and another teacher to see what was really going on. This is where it all became clear. It was by some incredible fluke that his family hadn't been wiped off the face of the earth years ago. Odds are his heritage was based on blind luck and some type of sick divine intervention that saves his family every time a threat presents itself. Kevin was the genetic pinnacle of this null achievement. Even my instructional lead, a woman who could find a redeeming trait in a Balrog, failed to see any reason this kid or his family should be alive today. So here's a list of events that made it abundantly clear that God exists and he's laughing uncontrollably. Kevin frequently forgot when/where class was. On more than one occasion, I had to retrieve him from other classrooms. Kevin ate an entire 24-pack of crayons, puked, and then did it again the next day. This is 9th grade. I have no idea where he got crayons. Kevin's dad wrote tuition checks and mailed them to me, his English teacher. This was a public school. When I gave it back to Kevin, voided to give to his dad with a brief note explaining that this is a public school, Kevin got in trouble for trying to spend it at 7-Eleven after school. Kevin was removed from the culinary arts program after leaving a cutting board on the gas stove and starting a fire twice. Kevin threw his lunch at the school resource officer and tried to run away. He ran into a door and insisted it wasn't him. Kevin stole my phone during class. I called it. It rang. He denied that it was ringing. Not that it wasn't his. Not that he did it. No, he denied that the phone was actually ringing. He tried it 3 times before the end of the year. Kevin called the basketball coach a motherfucking bitch during gym. Basketball tryouts were that afternoon. Kevin tried out. It didn't go well. Kevin's mom could never remember which school he went to. She missed several meetings because she drove to other schools, none of which he ever went to. What the hell? Kevin tased himself in the neck before a football game. Why did he have a taser? Kevin kept a bottle of orange Kool-Aid in his backpack for about 4 months. I thought it would turn into alcohol. He drank it during homeroom and threw up. Ugh. Kevin says the N-word a lot. Kevin was white. The high school is 84% black. Kevin got beat up a lot. Well, maybe that's why he's not so smart. Kevin stole another student's iPhone and tried to sell it back to them. Kevin didn't understand that his grade was dependent on tests, quizzes, homework, classwork, and participation. Kevin finished his first semester with a 3% average. He tried to bribe me with $11. Kevin spit on a girl and said, "You should get out of those wet clothes." The girl was the Spanish student teacher. Kevin didn't know dogs and cats were different animals. Kevin tried to download porn onto a computer in the library at the circulation desk while he was logged on. I'm starting to think that Kevin's mom and dad were brother and sister, and that his grandma and grandpa were also, on both sides, were also brother and sister. Kevin asked a girl to prom. He was in 9th grade and freshmen don't go to prom, by asking for her phone number and then texting her his address. Kevin got gum in his hair constantly. Kevin regularly tried to cheat on assignments by knocking the pile over, grabbing one before I had picked them all up, and then writing his name on it wherever there was room. Kevin had several allergies, but neither his parents nor he could remember what they were. They were very concerned that, quote, the holiday party, it's high school, we don't have those, would have peanuts. When they finally got a doctor's note, he was allergic to amoxicillin. Close enough. That's basically peanuts, right? Kevin and his parents took a trip to, I don't know how to say that, took a trip to Nassau. How the fuck did they even get airline tickets and forgot all of their luggage at home? I didn't believe him when he told me until I talked to his mom, who told me first thing when I saw her at the bi-weekly meeting. Kevin's grandfather apparently died in a chainsaw accident. I can only assume God was looking the other way that day. Torn between this cannot be real and you can't make this shit up. How did this kid not get like taken away? I feel like there's some sort of like really, he said that he had a 3% average in his first semester. And like between all of the getting in trouble and all of like the incompetencies, all the things, like they were clearly having lots of chats with Kevin's parents. How did this kid not get like taken away from his family? Why wasn't the family euthanized? Oh my god. Post-it notes left in apartment. On the 15th of April, I found a yellow post-it note in a handwriting that wasn't mine on my desk, reminding me of some errands I had to do, but told literally nobody about. While odd, I chalked it up to something I did in my sleep, thinking maybe in my half-awake state I scrawled it so it didn't appear to be my handwriting. I threw it out and thought little of it. On the 19th, I found another post-it note on the back of my desk chair in the same handwriting as the previous note, telling me to make sure I, quote, saved my documents. I was freaked out, but there were no other signs of a break-in, so I set up a webcam in my house aimed at my desk and used a security cam app for it to record after detecting movement. On the 28th, I woke up to find another post-it note. This one saying, "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you, but it's important we do." I immediately checked the webcam's folder on my computer and found nothing from the night before, but my computer's recycling bin had been emptied, which I am certain I did not do recently, indicating someone had noticed the webcam and deleted the files. They were just saved straight to a folder on my desktop called webcam. Today, on the 1st of May, I found another post-it note, this time on the outside of my door with nothing written on it. And there also appeared to be post-its on many other doors in my apartment complex, all blank in varying colors. Do I have any legal recourse here? I have no proof except for the post-its, but those are written by my pen on my post-it notes, so conceivably I could have faked them. Would contacting the police get me into any trouble if they can't determine an outside source for this? I just want to make sure I'm not wasting anyone's time. Should I consult my landlord, those also living in the complex? I pulled up a letter I received from my landlord back when I moved in, and the handwriting is identical. Could this count as evidence? That would also make sense, like, because the landlord would have access to the home and whatnot. You seem sincere, and this doesn't appear to be the plot of a Ray Bradbury short story. It's possible that your landlord is leaving notes inside your apartment, but they don't make any sense in the context you're describing them. It's likely that you are writing the notes yourself, but you are forgetting. Do you use post-it notes as reminders in any other parts of your life or job? This might be a mental health issue. You might be experiencing some sort of dissociative disorder. Or it might be a physical problem. You mentioned that you have very unusual narrow bedroom with no windows. Is there a chance that you're not getting enough ventilation when you sleep, or that there is a carbon monoxide leak in the building? A cheap CO detector, which you should have anyway, is a fast way to find out. You'll also have really bad headaches. You know your own medical and mental history and your other experiences. If you think these incidents might be you, writing notes to yourself, there's no shame in getting somebody qualified to give you an opinion. Edit, years later, and the good folks at WBUR Boston Public Radio have turned this thread into a podcast episode as part of their endless thread cooperative project with Reddit, complete with awesome art and title, and interviews with experts on the topics of sleepwalking and poisons, but not on webcams or landlord/tenant law. Update! Posted notes left in apartment. Thanks to everyone who sent suggestions and gave advice on how to proceed, especially to those who recommended a CO detector. Because when I plugged one into my bedroom, it read 100 ppm. TLDR, I had CO poisoning and thought my landlord was stalking me. Wow. Making a spider piñata to be filled with spiders? What the? How do I make sure the spiders will be okay until they are released? Piñata will look something like this. Aw, but you want real spiders in there? Ugh. What kind of food/habitat should I set up inside? How long could the spiders live comfortably in the piñata? I'm thinking at the maximum the spiders would be in there for a day. I want to make sure they are well fed and don't die. But you don't think they'll die when someone's hitting the piñata? What? Does anyone know the best place to order spiders in bulk? I was thinking garden spiders would probably be best. Several years ago, I was broke and living in a big, early 1900s house with a bunch of other guys who were also broke. We could barely afford toilet paper and food, so cable and internet were unaffordable luxuries. It was close to the town college, in a small college town, so for most of the year we could keep ourselves entertained by doing college things, building slip and slides with landscaping plastic and discarded mattresses, playing wiffle ball in the yard, the usual stuff you do when you're poor and bored and the weather is nice. But around November, the days get shorter and the weather gets cold, people stop coming by to hang out, there's not enough daylight to goof off outdoors. We'd pull our money and go buy some cheap liquor and play cards. But eventually, even that starts to get old. I don't remember how things got as desperate as they did, but I'll never forget the day that my roommate Mike suggested the spider box. It was a simple idea. We lived in an old house, and the insulation was horrible. There were spiders in every corner, especially in the basement. That's where the really big, weird-looking bugs lived. So Mike brought out one of those plastic shoe boxes you can get at the 99-cent store to hold baseball cards and expired batteries and cheap ballpoint pens in. And inside was the ugliest fucking creature I have ever seen. It wasn't a spider. It had too many legs. Oh my god. But it looked like a spider. It was long and pale and stalked around the box like it just wanted to bite something. When you're as bored as we were, a bug like that will hold your attention. But only for so long. Within the hour, we were all scrambling to find a spider big and mean enough to kill Mike's bug. We scoured the nastiest, darkest corners of every closet and crawl space with sticks and pencils and broom handles, gathering up spiders in whatever container we could find. Before long, we collected somewhere between 20 and 30 spiders between the 6 of us, and as we caught them, we'd drop them into the plastic shoebox. Of course, we'd wait a few minutes to see if the newest spider was going to be the one that killed the beast. But it wasn't until we got the last 4 or 5 spiders into that cramped little box that things started to reach critical mass. Then, it was a spider bloodbath. It was surreal. Suddenly, every spider in the box just went fucking crazy and started attacking or being attacked by other spiders. The big bug killed a couple as they scrambled around each other trying to wrap their enemy spiders up in a web. But the spiders weren't even interested in the bug. They were too busy killing each other. After a few hours and 1.75 liters of taka vodka, we had 4 living spiders building nests in the corners of the box and 1 big, ugly, angry demon bug tearing apart carcasses that were left on the floor of the shoebox. After that night, spider fights were all we thought about. For the next week, we'd spend our free time hunting down spiders to try to kill the bug. I like how the bug is capitalized, or even just to kill the 4 reigning champions. But even spider fights can get boring eventually. We needed something to make it interesting. We needed skin in the game. So on a late weekend night, we decided to up the stakes. The old spiders were all dead or crippled. The bug was still on its rampage, and we were all pretty drunk. My roommate Evan decided that we should clean up the sport, set up some rules so we could start making some real bets. We held the first and last spider tournament that night. 12 spiders went into the box, 2 from each of us. The lid came off the shoebox, and we all huddled around it with butter knives, straws, or whatever we could use to keep the spiders in the fight. The rules were simple. All 12 spiders would go in the box, and the first person to lose both of his spiders in a spider battle would have to wear the spider box for the rest of the night, duct taped to a baseball cap. The lid would be on, of course, but the bug would be right there, scurrying around in the box on the top of the loser's head. The fight was anticlimactic. Also, who thinks of this shit, man? I mean, is this your brain when you don't have internet or cable? This is your brain without internet or cable. Thank God for the internet, because holy shit. God damn. The fight was anticlimactic. My roommate Ryan's spiders were both wrapped up and sucked dry within 10 minutes. So he threw back a shot of bottom shelf vodka, put on his spider box hat, and we all had a few laughs at his expense. Some of our friends came over later. It made a great story. Ryan was showing off the hat, and eventually we got enough people and money together to buy a keg and have a nice little party that night. I wouldn't even remember the fucking spider box if it wasn't for what I saw the next morning. Ryan had passed out drunk on the living room couch, spider box still on his head. But when I went over to wake him up and tell him to throw the damn thing away, I noticed something horrifying. The fucking lid was open. The spiders were gone. The bug was gone. I took off the hat while he was asleep and threw it away. He brings it up from time to time. He thinks he lost the hat while he was drunk. I've never been able to tell him the terrible truth. TLDR, they'll eat each other, no food required. We used to get big, I forget what they're called, like orb weavers maybe? Like outside of my old house, and I usually just I would leave them be. Edit. Thanks for the enthusiastic response and for the Reddit gold donation. That was totally unexpected, and I'm really glad you guys enjoyed this story. The bug has been identified by several commenters. Some parts of a story are better left to the imagination, so if you've got a sufficiently terrifying mental image, I'd leave it alone. If your curiosity must be satisfied, the bug awaits. Wait, am I supposed to be clicking this one? Oh, I think so. Oh god, the bug awaits. Ew! 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 I hate it! I hate it! What is that? What is that? Oh, I don't. Yuck. Ugh, I got the creepy crawlies. That was the bug. That was the bug champion. Oh my god, there's more. In the weeks after the escape, I spent more than a few hours at the campus library scouring the internet for anything resembling the bug, but nothing even came close. After the spider box, I experienced a bit of general anxiety. Never overpowering or pronounced, just a vague sense of foreboding, like something terrible was about to happen. I stopped washing my clothes in the basement laundry room. We were a house full of college-aged guys, so if you left your stuff in the dryer, it would eventually get tossed in an empty basket on the floor. I've still got a vivid mental image of the bug down in the basement, burrowed into the fold of an old t-shirt or wading in the toe of a sock. The laundromat is a hassle, but it was better than the skin-crawling feeling that I got every time I went down into what we refer to as the pit. I eventually let myself believe that it was an aberration, a demon hybrid that came into this world as some terrible genetic accident in the depths of our basement, and that it was the only one of its kind. It just didn't seem natural. The hideously pale, inflexible body, the vicious, arched forelegs that seemed to serve no purpose besides intimidation, the unsettling, staccato way that it would move as it tore across the cage, stopping and starting and stopping, starting. It didn't make sense in the world where limbs serve a purpose and evolution guides species towards the most rational form. I moved out of that house the following summer, and until I posted that story, I didn't often think about the bug. It'd pop into mind when I saw Ryan at a party, or when I stopped by the old house to visit friends. Even then, it was a passing image. I live in a second-story apartment on the opposite side of town now, and that little demon is long dead. Until October 29th, 2011, I believed that the threat had died with it. I'd done my research. The bug wasn't a solifugid or an amblypygid or any other categorized documented monstrosity that I found online. As far as I knew, the bug was the sole member and evolutionary branch that began and ended with one hideous iteration, a failed deviation, extinct before it could ever be recorded. The first few bug-related responses to my comment confirmed that belief. The bugs suggested as a match were hideous, but they were way off. I went out and didn't check the thread until the following morning. When I came back, I saw a few new guesses. Vinegaroos and Wettas, nasty little fuckers, but not the bug. Then I saw it. Scutagera coleoptrata, the house centipede. It not only had a scientific name, it was prevalent enough to have a common name. I got that itchy crawling sensation the second I saw the photo. I tried to convince myself that this wasn't the bug. I watched videos, read stories, but the dread was back. The last few days, I've checked under my sheets before getting into bed, shaken out my shoes before I put them on. What was once a fading memory has come back razor sharp in my mind. What we did to those spiders was cruel. I always thought that we'd pay our penance the night that they escaped, that the bug had done unspeakable things to Ryan, crawled away, and eventually died in some dark corner, alone and unnoticed. Now I know that we only trained it. We kept it confined and honed its killer instinct, and then unleashed it to breed a new legion of stronger, more vicious bugs. I don't think I want to live in a world where the bug still exists. Another fine specimen from the Metric Star Destroyer posted this separate from the original comment because there was such a strong response to the story, and I think a lot of that comes from the imagination of the reader. When you don't know what the bug is, it becomes much more terrifying. Your mind takes the written details and fills in the blanks to create an image that is very personal and frightening, where a photograph or video just gives you the information, and in many cases it can't compete with what you'd otherwise come up with on your own. If you got any other questions about spider fights, the bug, or the events surrounding that horrible night, consider this the Spider Fights AMA. It doesn't really fit the AMA guidelines. Thanks again for the great response. I don't know. I think seeing the picture freaked me out more because my brain, I just imagined it as this like big goofy guy. I was like, oh my god, big goofy bug that was like a spider, but it had a lot more legs. Sounds creepy, but my brain was like, big goofy guy, big goofy guy. Also, can we come back to this person who wants to make a spider piñata to be filled with spiders? That is so fucked up. What the hell? Which legendary Reddit post/comment can you still not get over? There was a post on r/awe of a gorilla using sign language to tell people not to feed it or something to that effect. To this day, I still laugh when I think about a comment that said, "It's a shame there's so many deaf gorillas." This one guy was on the toilet and he sneezed while he was taking a shit. That same moment the power in his house went out, he proceeded to cry because he thought he shit himself blind. r/grilled cheese. You people make me sick. A grilled cheese consists of only these following items: cheese, bread with spread, usually butter. This entire subreddit consists of melts. Almost every, quote, grilled cheese sandwich I see on here has other items added to it. The fact that this subreddit is called grilled cheese is nothing short of utter blasphemy. Let me start out by saying I have nothing against melts. I just hate their association with sandwiches that are not grilled cheeses. Adding cheese to your tuna sandwich, it's called a tuna melt. Totally different. Want to add bacon and some pretentious breadcrumbs with spinach? I don't know what the hell you'd call that, but it's not a grilled cheese. This sounds like a rant that Josh from Drake and Josh would go on. I'm not gonna lie. I would be more than willing to wager I've eaten more grilled cheeses in my 21 years than any of you had in your entire lives. I have one almost every day, and sometimes more than just one sandwich. Want to personalize your grilled cheese? Use a mix of different cheeses, or use sourdough or French bread. But if you want to add some pulled pork and take a picture of it and make your own subreddit entitled Melts, because that is not a fucking grilled cheese. I'm not a religious man, nor am I anything close to a culinary expert, but as a bland, white, Midwestern male, I am honestly the most passionate person when it comes to grilled cheese and mac and cheese. All of you foodies stay the hell away from our grilled cheeses, and stop associating your sandwich melts with them. Yet again, it is utter blasphemy, and it rocks me to the core of my pale being. Shit, I stopped lurking after 3 years and made this account for the sole purpose of posting this. I've seen posts after posts of people's grilled cheeses all over Reddit, and it's been driving me insane. The moment I saw this subreddit this morning, I finally snapped. Hell, I may even start my own subreddit just because I know this one exists now. You goddamn heretics, respect the grilled cheese and stop changing it into whatever you like and love it for what it is. Or make your damn melt sandwich and call it for what it is. A melt. It's a melt. Anything extra on the cheese, bread, and spread is a melt, culinary speaking. I guess I could understand that. This one's from r/today I fucked up by enraging the parents of my girlfriend by pretending not to know what a potato is. Let me tell you that I have made a bad mistake this evening. My girlfriend, who, let me tell you, is only my second girlfriend of all time, said I am, quote, invited to dinner with her and her parents. I was very aghast, nervous, and bashful to be invited to such a situation, but I knew it must be done. I met them nicely, I should tell you, and it started off in a good way. The idea slapped my mind that I should do a comic bit to make a good impression and become known to them as a person who is amusing. When I saw that baked potatoes were served, I got the idea that it would be very good if I pretended I did not know what potatoes was. That would be funny. Well, let me tell you, backfired on my face. I'll tell you how. So first, when the potato became on my plate, I acted very interesting. I showed an expression on my face so as to seem that I was confused, astounded, but in a restrained way, curious and interested. They did notice and seemed confused but did not remark. So I asked, "This looks very interesting. What is this?" They stared at me and the mother said, "It's a baked potato." And I was saying, "Oh, interesting, a baked, what is it again?" And she was like, "A potato." And I was like, "A potato. Oh, interesting. Never heard of a potato. Looks pretty good." And then they didn't see I was clowning, but thought I really did not know what a potato is. So I knew I would be very shamed, humiliated, depressed, and disgusted if I admitted to making a bad joke. So what I did was to act as if it was not a joke, but I committed to the act of pretending I didn't know what a potato is. They asked me, very incredulous, did I really not know what a potato is? That I never heard of a potato? I went with it and told them yes, I did not ever even hear of a potato. Not only had I never eaten a potato, I had never heard the word potato. This went on for a bit, and my girlfriend was acting very confused and embarrassed by my fucked up antics. And then the more insistent I was about not knowing what a potato is was when them parents started thinking I did know what a potato was. Well, let me tell you, I had to commit 100% at this point. When I would not admit to knowing what a potato was, the father especially began to get annoyed. At one point, he said something like, "Enough is enough. You're fucking with us, admit it." And I said, "Sir, before today, I never heard of a potato. I still don't know what a potato is other than some kind of food. I don't know what to tell you." Well, let me tell you, he got very annoyed. I decided to take a bite of the potato, and when I did, I made a high-pitched noise and said, "Tastes very strange." That is when the father started yelling at me, and the mother kept saying, "What are you doing?" And my girlfriend went to some other room. Finally, the father said I should get the fuck out of his house, and I said it was irrational to treat me like this just because I never heard of a potato before. Well, let me tell you, he didn't take that kindly. Now, in text messages, I've been telling my girlfriend, I really don't know what a potato is. The only way I can ever get out of this is for them to buy that I don't know what a potato is. I wish I never started it, but I can't go back. I think she will break up with me anyway. Why did he commit so hard? Just drop the bit. Really, like in the very beginning, just be like, ha, got you. I was just joking. Why did the dad get so pissed though? Even if I thought that he was just trying to do some bit, like if I caught on, I'd just be like, oh, okay. And if I didn't think it was funny, or even if I thought it was annoying, I would probably still just move on. And then when I tell my friends, I'd be like, oh yeah, my daughter has this new boyfriend who is like pretending he doesn't know what potatoes are. It's kind of weird, but whatever. If she likes him, I guess that's fine. We got r/museum of Reddit, the poop knife. My family poops big. Maybe it's genetic, maybe it's our diet, but everyone births giant logs of crap. If anyone has laid a mega poop, you know that sometimes it won't flush. It lays across the hole in the bottom of the bowl, and the vortex of draining water merely gives it a spin as it mocks you. Growing up, this was a common enough occurrence that our family had a poop knife. It was an old rusty kitchen knife that hung on a nail in the laundry room only to be used for that purpose. It was normal to walk through the hallway and have someone call out, hey, can you get me the poop knife? I thought it was standard kit. Hold on. Sometimes I don't react because I'm like getting into the story. I am the narrator. So I'm like getting into it. But then sometimes I have to like hold on, pause. What is the knife for? So your poop is too big. It's laying across the hole. Are we stabbing the poop? We're cutting it up into smaller pieces so that it will go down the toilet. I'm assuming that's what it is. You're chopping it up so that it will fit in the hole. I thought it was standard kit. You have your plunger, your toilet brush, and your poop knife. Fast forward to 22. It's been a day or two between poops, and I'm over at my friend's house. My friend was the local dealer and always had guests over because you can't buy weed without sitting on your ass and sampling it for an hour. I excuse myself and lay a gigantic turd. I look down and see that it's a sideways one, so I crack the door and call out for my friend. He arrives and I ask him for his poop knife. My poop knife. Your poop knife, I say. I need to use it. Please? What the fuck is a poop knife? Obviously he has one, but maybe he calls it by a more delicate name? A fecal cleaver? A dung divider? A guano glaive. I explain what it is I want and why I want it. He starts giggling, then laughing. Then lots of people start laughing. It turns out the music stopped and everyone heard my pleas through the door. It also turns out that none of them had poop knives. It was just my fucked up family with their fucked up bowels. Fuck my life. I told this to my wife last night, who was amused and horrified at the same time. It turns out that she did not know what a poop knife was and had been using the old rusty knife hanging in the utility closet as a basic utility knife. Thankfully, she didn't cook with it. Oh my God. Thankfully. Wait, you married this woman and you never told her about the poop knife? You never told her about the poop knife? Like, I feel like that's something you tell someone before you marry them. By the way, I use a poop knife. By the way, when you move in with me, don't use this knife unless you're using it to cut up your poop. This is immediate grounds for divorce. They got to marriage age and hadn't seen a doctor to find out there was a better solution. And there is. It's literally just taking Miralax every day. So there are people who like, you can like damage something down there. I don't even know what it is, but there's something down there that it has to do with your poop, that it gets like damaged or whatever, and it makes it so that like you don't get the urge to go poop as often, and then whenever you finally do poop, it's a fucking giganto poop. And you just have to repair the muscles down there. And that's why you just take Miralax every day for a certain amount of time and give your stuff your muscles down there. Time to be repaired. Thankfully, she didn't cook with it, but used it to open Amazon boxes. She will be getting her own utility knife now. Common question, why was this not in the bathroom instead of the laundry room? Answer, we only had one poop knife, and the laundry room was central to all 3 bathrooms. I have no idea why we didn't have 3 poop knives. All I know is that we didn't. We had the one. Possibly because my father was notoriously cheap about the weirdest things, so yes, we shared our poop knife. Did they clean the poop knife like every time? And where did they clean it? Did they just clean it in the bathroom sink? I have so many questions. Original OP's undying love for Franz Kafka character is unreal. So this is from r/best of Redditor updates. I am not OP. Original post by user I love Roach in r/TIFU. Trigger warnings, cockroach. Mood spoilers. Fantasy defeats reality. Today I fucked up by admitting to my girlfriend that I pretend she is a giant cockroach when we have sex. I just slammed my fist on my desk. No way this is real. There's no way this is real. There's no way this is real. This can't be real. Who would do that? Who would do that? There's just no way. Ever since I was a teenager, I have had very intense fantasies about having sex with a giant roach. I mean, I guess there really is a fetish for everything, huh? It started in 9th or 10th grade when we read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. As I started to think more and more about the roach creature that the character had become, I started to imagine what it would be like if a woman turned into the roach instead. I found this idea very arousing. I would not be repulsed or frightened of her as the characters in the story are. I would take care of her. Then my thoughts started to get sexual with the character. Eventually, I sort of dropped the bit about her having been a human woman at first, and I kind of imagined this fictionalized roach species. They are giant roaches the size of a person and have complete intelligence. I kind of over time conjured up an imaginary friend of sorts. She was one of these roaches, and her name was Ogtha. I would fantasize about her often. Whenever I masturbated, I'd be imagining elaborate scenarios of me and Ogtha making love. When I started to have actual sex, I found I could not perform if I wasn't thinking of Ogtha. So basically now, anytime I have sex with a woman, I am pretending that she is actually Ogtha. Not just think about Ogtha, I concentrate intently to visualize that I am actually doing Ogtha. I don't want to think about the girl at all. There is only Ogtha. Of course, the sex could never be as exciting as my fully imaginary sessions with Ogtha. There are things that her multiple appendages and antenna allow for that a human woman could never match. I don't even have words. So anyways, I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for about a year. 3 or 4 times I have tried to have sex with her and not pretend she is Ogtha, but I just couldn't do it. So essentially, every time we have sex, I'm imagining she is Ogtha. I finally confided this to her the other day, and I was blown away by her reaction. I thought she might take it a bit badly at first, but that she'd get used to it. No. I have never seen such a look of disgust before. Outraged is not an understatement. She's not even returning my texts now. I'm afraid she's actually going to break up with me, and also that is going to tell people about Ogtha. I don't know how I'll face anyone. This is going to sound silly, but I also feel guilty about feeling shame, as if Ogtha will be saddened by this, even though I know she's imaginary. I just don't know what to do at this point. It seems like it's 100% because of the book they read. Today I fucked up by admitting to my coworkers that my wife, Ogtha, is an imaginary giant roach. Oh, Okay, we missed a couple chapters here, guys. 5 years ago, I submitted the story of me telling my then girlfriend that when we made love, I was envisioning her as a giant roach. The gist of the backstory is that ever since I was a teenager, I have fantasized in my head of making love to a giant roach, a roach the size of a person. Eventually, I concocted an entire backstory and personality for this imaginary roach who I named Agtha. Now I feel like anybody that I sleep with, I'm gonna have to be like, are you imagining me as like a giant bug right now? Are you thinking about cockroaches? Whenever I would engage in private, pleasurable deeds, if you know what I mean, I would imagine in my head vivid and elaborate scenarios with Agtha. It got to be I could not perform with my actual partner unless I pretended they were Agtha. You might think of the scene in Blade Runner 2049, which my original Today I Fucked Up predates, by the way, where the main character makes love to a prostitute, but his hologram girlfriend kind of holograms over the body of the actual person, so he can pretend he's making love to his hologram. That is what it was like with me and Agtha, but instead of a hologram, it was just my imagination. In the 5 years that have passed since this topic was posted, I decided to stop fooling myself and I just committed to the love of Agtha. I know that she is not real per se, but in my head, she is an actual personality, and I am in love with that personality. I don't care if she is a roach or if she is imaginary, the love is real. Call me deluded, but it's harmless. It makes me happy. I have not had a real girlfriend since that incident 5 years ago, but occasionally I have had one-night stands via online apps with the understanding of it being one night in advance. And on these times, I always envision the woman as Agtha, my sensual roach queen. Do you think that they need therapy or they should seek help and eventually move on to a relationship with a real person if that would be better for their life in the long run? Don't let that motherfucker anywhere near an actual roach. No, he only wants a giant roach. It's hard because, like, say, like, you're this person's, like, friend or family member and you try to suggest, like, them trying to find help. And I mean, like, if they respond to you with, like, why? I'm perfectly happy and I'm not hurting anybody. I just want to live the rest of my life like this. And it's not, you know, it's not doing any harm. I mean, maybe don't tell people that you are married and like just say you're single. Unless it hurts you to not say that, then maybe yes, we're getting to the point where you might need to talk to somebody. At first, it kind of sounded like just a fetish thing, but now to this point, I think where it's more worth it to keep thinking of this than to like nurture your like real relationships. You might have the same disorder people have when they are attracted to inanimate objects, but slightly different because they also build an emotional attachment in the same way. That is true. I'm very invested. Okay. Now, I mean no offense to the women, of course, and even a gentleman once or twice. The many appendages of Agtha make translation to human gender almost irrelevant. I just envision that they are Agtha, and no, I have never confided to them about it. I learned my lesson. The thing about it, though, is that I became so in love with my Agtha that I, quote, married her. I even did a little ceremony in my living room. I recited my vows and she recited hers. I even went on a honeymoon, which technically you could say was a solo vacation to New Orleans for a week. But in my mind, Agtha was with me the entire time. In my mind, I think of her as my wife. And I am picturing this person in their living room by themselves having a wedding where he is getting married to his imaginary giant cockroach woman. Went on a honeymoon, cheapest honeymoon ever, by the way, one ticket, and is imagining that she is there with him the whole time. It'd be awkward if they moan their name during the deed. Can we delete the internet and that guy? I wouldn't delete him. I'm so intrigued. Now here's where I fucked up. I got so used to thinking of her as my wife in my head that a few months ago at work, I nonchalantly said my wife in some innocuous sentence. I think it was something like, oh yeah, me and my wife love that show in regards to Chopped. Oh, I love that show too. So now everyone was asking me about my wife because they had never heard I was married or even dating anyone. Everyone kept pestering me, wanting to know about her, wanting to see pictures. I became full of panic. I did the one thing I swore I would never do again. I talked to other people about Agtha in real life. We were at a team lunch and I just let it all spill out. I told them how I became enamored as a teenager with the Franz Kafka story, how my fantasy evolved into an actual imaginary entity with a personality, and how I slowly began to grow in love with her. What started as mere sexual attraction to giant roaches blossomed into a whirlwind romance, and that she became the love of my life, even though her existence was in my own mind. He told them. At first, they thought I was doing a creepy joke, but I convinced them I was telling the truth. Well, they were afraid and disgusted. I have been a pariah at work ever since. Everybody steers clear of me. We used to have a good social life. Now people only speak to me for work-related reasons. Everyone working virtually now, nobody sends me a Slack message unless it is about work. I even heard a rumor that people went to HR, but they were of course told nothing could be done. I have lost my good work friends because of this, and it is indeed jeopardizing my career because my bosses think I am insane. I have ruined my friendships and future career prospects due to my honesty. Yeah. So now I can see where it is affecting his friendships and his job. I'm thinking of starting to look for a new job, although it is difficult in the current environment. I can start fresh elsewhere though. No matter what, I will be staying with my wife, Agtha. For me, it's Agtha forever. If you must know, I do hope that even if I am an old man, that one day the technology is invented to extract the Agtha personality from my mind and implant it into a real external body, either of a genetically engineered or mechanical nature, and me and Agtha can then experience genuine physical connection. But if she must remain within me, that is fine. Her love keeps me warm on the coldest of nights. That is... The thing is, he's not just saying I have an imaginary wife. He's saying I imagine myself having sex with an animal. I guess I didn't think of it that way. You know what? We actually weigh in on what we were talking about earlier with the spiders, the spider fight club. And we were like, is that animal abuse? And then we were talking about how, like, oh, it depends on if you consider spiders animals. So because I mean, like, technically, if you kill a spider, it wouldn't be animal abuse the same way as if you killed another type of animal. Okay, but spiders are goated. He must be using some kind of AI like ChatGPT to roleplay as Agtha for him. I do wonder if he is not doing that at this point in the story where he's married her. This is 2 years ago. So assuredly, like, he could realistically have been using AI and he has some sort of AI psychosis that is contributing to this. Because I mean, if he says she has this fully like developed personality in his head. So I feel like there's no way that he hasn't tried to just translate that into talking to an AI bot. He's created something he can't lose to anyone else because she is unique to him and not real. So she can't betray or leave him. I can understand that part, but Obs the cockroach is different. Yeah, I think that is what makes this story different, because there are a lot of people that do this type of thing with like imaginary characters, OCs, as you said earlier, like inanimate objects, things like that. Today, I fucked up by telling my parents that I am married to an imaginary giant roach, my beloved Agtha. Due to character limits, the rest of this appears in a comment below. I guess the fact that she is completely unique probably adds to it. Yeah, and then part of like the sexual part for him is that she's like, there are things he imagines with her extra appendages and like antenna and stuff. Yeah, why is imaginary in air quotes? A few of you may recall some years ago I posted about my lovely Agtha, and you can find in my post history. My new story requires an explanation of Agtha. For those who don't know, I will try to be brief. Many years ago as a teenager, I became fascinated with the Kafka story, the metamorphosis, and I began to fantasize about a character like that, but a woman, essentially a giant roach. I found this very erotic. As time went on, the character became a member of a fictional roach species, basically giant intelligent roaches, and this one specifically was Agtha. For several years, Agtha was just an imaginary figure to me, but as time went on, she became a fully sentient being that I fell in love with. Agtha to me is a real creature. She simply lacks a physical body in our world, and her consciousness resides in my mind alongside my own. The users of r/tulpas helped me realize there is nothing delusional about this, and that indeed it is very possible for such entities to come into being. I do hope that one day the technology will exist to extract Agtha from my mind and install her into an artificial physical body, but we are satisfied with our current relationship. I love Agtha and she loves me. Some time ago, I married her. Now, from a strictly legal sense, no, I am not married per se, but for me and Agtha, we consider our relationship to be a marriage. I'm devoted to her and her to me. I revealed this to my coworkers and it did not go well. But I thought my parents had a right to know. Bad idea, buddy. Last evening, I revealed to them everything about Agtha and told them we were married. I even allowed Agtha to speak through me to them so that she could finally meet my parents after only seeing them from afar. Oh no. He allowed her to speak through him? Could this potentially be a case of DID? That seems pretty accurate. I knew my parents would find it unusual at first, but I thought they would come to understand and be happy for me. However, I fear they think me deranged. My mother actually cried, and not tears of happiness as I expected. They even encouraged me to seek counseling. I explained to them that what I am experiencing is real and encouraged them to read through the Tulpa Reddit. What is Tulpa? It has created a very bad situation for me, and now I fear my relationship with my parents is quite ruined. They keep insisting I seek counseling and are threatening if I don't, they will no longer assist with my student loans and I will not be welcome at Thanksgiving. I feel they are overreacting, but at the same time, I wish I had just kept my marriage a secret. I do consider it now to be a fuck up to have been truthful with my parents. They are in some ways traditionalist and are simply not ready to understand how entities can exist without physical form and share a mind. It breaks my heart, but I wish I had been deceitful with my family. For the record, I will never divorce Agtha, and with our love, I know I can survive anything, but I wish I had never been truthful with my parents. Yeah, I'm very intrigued. And yeah, I wonder if it's similar to DID, but maybe with just some special characteristics to it. Still thinking schizophrenia over DID. He hasn't communicated that he sees or hears her necessarily. He's been pretty clear through all the posts that everything is happening in his mind. He's after validation. He won't get it because people won't understand, but that's why he keeps telling people in the hopes that they accept it. I guess it's like the parents were the ones that he really wanted the approval from. I can understand why they would feel concern after hearing that. I hope to get another update on this one at some point because that is very interesting. All right, we got one more chat. Have you ever picked up a hitchhiker? Just about every time I see someone, I stop. I kind of got out of the habit in the last couple years, moved to a big city and all that. My girlfriend wasn't too stoked on the practice. Then some shit happened to me that changed me, and I'm back to offering rides habitually. If you would indulge me, it is a long story and has almost nothing to do with hitchhiking other than happening on a road. This past year, I have had 3 instances of car trouble. A blowout on a freeway, a bunch of blown fuses, and an out of gas situation. All of them were while driving other people's cars, which for some reason makes it worse on an emotional level. It makes it worse on a practical level as well, what with the fact that I carry things like a jack and extra fuses in my car and know enough not to park facing downhill on a steep incline with less than a gallon of fuel. Anyways, each of these times this shit happened, I was disgusted with how people would not bother to help me. I spent hours on the side of the freeway waiting, watching roadside assistance vehicles blow past me for AAA to show. The 4 gas stations I asked for a gas can at told me that they couldn't loan them out for my safety, but I could buy a really shitty 1-gallon one with no cap for $15. It was enough each time to make you say shit like, this country is going to hell in a handbasket. But you know who came to my rescue all 3 times? Immigrants. Mexican immigrants. None of them spoke a lick of the language, but one of those dudes had a profound effect on me. He was the guy that stopped to help me with the blowout with his whole family of 6 in tow. I was on the side of the road for close to 4 hours. Big Jeep, blown rear tire, had a spare but no jack. I had signs in the windows of the car, big signs that said need a jack and offered money. No dice. Right as I'm about to give up and just hitch out there, a van pulls over and dude bounds out. He sizes the situation up and calls for his youngest daughter who speaks English. He conveys through her that he has a jack, but it is too small for the Jeep, so we will need to brace it. He produces a saw from the van and cuts a log out of a downed tree on the side of the road. Holy shit. We rolled it over, put his jack on top, and bam, in business. I started taking the wheel off, and if you can believe it, I broke his tire iron. It was one of those collapsible ones, and I wasn't careful, and I snapped the head I needed clean off. Fuck. No worries. He runs to the van, gives it to his wife, and she's gone in a flash down the road to buy a tire iron. She's back in 15 minutes. We finished the job with a little sweat and cussing. Stupid log was starting to give, and I am a very happy man. We are both filthy and sweaty. The wife produces a large water jug for us to wash our hands in. I tried to put a 20 in the man's hand, but he wouldn't take it, so I instead gave it to his wife as quietly as I could. I thanked them up one side and down the other. I asked the little girl where they lived, thinking maybe I could send them a gift for being so awesome. She says they live in Mexico. They are here so mommy and daddy can pick peaches for the next few weeks. After that, they're going to pick cherries, then go back home. She asked if I had lunch, and when I told her no, she gave me a tamale from their cooler. The best fucking tamale I have ever had. So to clarify, a family that is undoubtedly poorer than you, me, and just about everyone else on that stretch of road, working on a seasonal basis where time is money, took an hour or 2 out of their day to help some strange dude on the side of the road when people in tow trucks were just passing me by. Wow. But we aren't done yet. I thanked them again and walked back to my car and opened the foil on the tamale because I'm starving at this point. And what do I find inside? My fucking $20 bill. I whirl around and run up to the van, and the guy rolls his window down. He sees the 20 in my hand and just shaking his head no, like he won't take it. All I can think to say is por favor, por favor, por favor with my hands out. Dude just smiles, shakes his head, and with what looked like great concentration, tried his hardest to speak to me in English. Today, you, tomorrow, me. Rolled up his window, drove away, his daughter waving to me in the rear view. I sat in my car eating the best fucking tamale of all time, and I just cried. Like a little girl. It has been a rough year, and nothing has broke my way. This was so out of left field, I just couldn't deal. In the 5 months since I have changed a couple of tires, given a few rides to gas stations, and once went 50 miles out of my way to get a girl to an airport, I won't accept money. Every time I tell them the same thing when we are through. Today you, tomorrow me. TLDR, long rambling story about how the kindness of strangers, particularly folks from south of the border, forced me to be more helpful on the road and in life in general. I am sure it won't be as meaningful to anyone else, but it was seriously the highlight of my 2010. Holy, 2010. That's a long time ago, guys. Aw, that was a nice one to wrap it up with. That was a very nice, sweet one to wrap up with. And I like that. Today you, tomorrow me. And that's why we should always help each other. And hope that good karma rolls back around. All right, that is enough Reddit for today. Now, boop, excuse me.